Mate, we sit here in the wrap-up of, frankly, what was it? Underwhelming Group 1 day of racing yesterday at Doomben. We call it as we see it.
Yeah, we do. We've got to be honest. And we said in the lead-up.
It just had a feeling about it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was a Group 3 race. I'm not even going to give it the benefit of calling it a Group 2 because I think that's being generous. Because when you've got horses like Bois d'Argent, who, his last few runs, he hasn't been able to place in Group 3s, let alone win them.
So that was his fourth start at Group 1 level. His first win, obviously. But that was his fourth start at Group 1 level, one win for 0 placings. Three starts at Group 3 level rather. No starts at Group 2 level. For 1 third, which I think was last start in the Hollandale. And he's had 8 starts at listed grade. And his form stacks up. Two wins, 3 seconds and 2 thirds. That's his level.
He's a listed horse.
He did run sensational in the Caulfield Cup last year.
He did actually, yeah.
At 100-1, ran 4th though.
Yeah.
Ran the race of his...
In a handicap.
Ran the race of his life. So...
Look, the last few editions of the Doomben Cup have been okay. I think when Zaki brained him by 10 lengths, that's clearly a highlight. That was one of the highest rating races of the year. But just the way that the Queen Elizabeth is so late in the autumn and is worth $5 million. So you're out of your mind to be, not targeting that if you're a 2,000 metre horse, Group 1 horse. So the Doomben Cup's always going to suffer as a result. I don't know, you don't want to do anything drastic after one piss week edition where, a $20 to $30 shot wins. You don't want to do anything drastic, but at the same time, come on, man.
Well, it's the writing's on the wall, right? So Huerta, with all due respect, so he runs 4th in his 3rd attempt of winning the Doomben Cup. He's never going to be featuring in a Queen Elizabeth or a Cox Plate.
No.
That summarizes this race up to a T. Now, the up-and-coming horses that show something at, say, benchmark 78 level and going through their grades, like a Faulkner Park, a New Endeavour, a Naval College, those type of operators, it's probably their opportunity to snag a Group 1, but it doesn't really deserve the status.
No, it doesn't. Plain and simple, it doesn't.
You're better off making the Q22 a Group 1 because the quality of field there just will be lengths better.
100%. And I was even thinking about, do you have the Q22, earlier? So that you can, maybe get those coming off the Queen Elizabeth after, a 4-week freshen up. And, if they missed out there, they can go to the Q22 and maybe that'll suit some of them more. I don't know. We had an entire podcast dedicated to the pattern and neither of us had the Doomben Cup as a Group 1 for good reason. And the Doomben Carnival is, the Doomben 10,000 is always going to be pretty good because we just have good sprinters. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't see the point of the Doomben Cup being a Group 1.
Well, Doomben Cup and then the Winter Carnival in general has too many sprint races at Group 1 level. So, yeah, had one at Doomben, but then the Kingsford Smith, does that really need to be a Group 1? It's there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So, Bois d'Argent, after being defeated by about 10 lengths last start, 6 lengths, by the likes of Bonnie Ezra and Tapple Doodle Doo at the Sunshine Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, well done to Annabelle Neesham, the connections. Stoked for you that you won in Group 1. And, it's worth $1 million, I'm pretty sure. Blake Shin, he's so good.
Yeah.
And if it was any other jockey on Bois d'Argent, I don't know if it wins, but yeah, it's just a bit deflating, isn't it?
I was not keeping as close an eye on it because I was predisposed. But on the races at Doomben yesterday, but was there, because it looked like he was pretty much leading the entire way, was there a bit of a leaderish pattern on the day?
Oh, look, you wanted to be in the first third, definitely. If you look down at the breakdown of the race, they were going so slow.
Yeah,
and which is bizarre because I thought there'd be some pace injected. Serpentine ended up sitting like midfield, back of midfield, and then had a move mid race to roll forward Serpentine to try and inject some pace into the race. But they were absolutely walking, and you can immediately put a line through. Like Van de Cler, he doesn't love soft ground, but he needed a fast run 2,000 metres to show his wares. He ran like second or third last. We saw what happened with Kovalica. I think Numerian was sort of back in the field. When you go on that slow over 2,000 metres, you're not gonna run from the back. Huerta did well to run fourth, to be honest, but
took the shortcut back on the fence, and it looks like from what the races I did see, they were getting well off the fence.
They definitely were getting well off the fence, but there is absolutely no one that I want to take out of that race. Let me put it that way.
Faulkner Park back on good ground, I reckon. He's the one that you can take. And Amakura, I reckon she's nearly run past Kovalica, and Kovalica's about sixth run into the prep, and Amakura's second up.
She looked phenomenal in the yard. She was Lizzie's pick of the yard. And watching on the TV, I was like, oh shit, she looks good, Amakura. And yeah, Lizzie said she's covered in dapple. So yeah, she's won into the Q22, but like, is this going to be a form race for the rest of the year? No. Could you use it for the Winter Carnival? Potentially, but stinky. Poo.
Not a form reference for Group 1 level.
No.
It'll be a good form reference for listed level and Group 3 level.
Yeah. Right. Amakura is an interesting one because, she's a horse where she's still so lightly raced, and maybe Chris Lees is thinking, could she be a potential Cups horse? Like, she's 4 now, taken pretty easy since she won the Oaks. Like, I don't mind that because I've said it before on the podcast. I think particularly for the fillies, the 4-year-old season can come a bit too soon, and they probably need another year to strengthen up, particularly over those sort of staying races. So, she's a rising 5-year-old. Maybe she can feature in some of those handicap staying races.
Yeah, and she was lightly raced up into the Queensland Oaks as well.
Yeah,
and I think we branded it the worst Oaks of all time last year, but the form out of it has actually been pretty good. There was a lot of subsequent winners. So, yeah, we'll see. Clean Energy, you just said it would just win, and it, went pretty well.
Yeah, it was good. Like,
in the Bill Carter?
Yeah, I don't know what they do with her now. Like, do you
She looks too speedy for a JJ.
Definitely, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, do you just tip her out now that she's got a bit of black type and bring her back for the sprint races over the Spring Carnival, like a Coolmore stud, you would assume?
Probably. Yeah. And I saw Lloydie of the Leg Up and Mugs punting fame say that, so remember Zugotra ran in this a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
I think she ran third or fourth.
I actually think she missed the placings to fourth, maybe probably fifth or sixth, because I was there that day with Craig, and in the lead up, Chris and J-Mac just said, we're just going to take her out back. This is just a learning experience for her. Like, don't bet on her. Craig's like, too late, but but that was the making of it. She came out in the spring and obviously won the Princess Series. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the runner-up here, Lady Shinoda, J-Mac on in the Arrowfield Silks, in the Tass Silks. I thought that was a nice run.
Yeah, it was a great run. So, yeah, I think this is a handy little race, and if she keeps going, then she's definitely one to take out of it. But yeah, they were clearly the top two, weren't they?
Yeah, I thought so. Now, so the Bill Carter, yeah, they're definitely the ones to take out of it. And then Arabian Summer, we just forgot about her.
We forgot about Arabian Summer.
$12.
Yeah, it's a big price.
To be fair, we didn't preview this race on the podcast, but
is she a Snowden horse?
Arabian Summer, no, she's McAvoy's.
Okay.
McAvoy's have had a bit of a renaissance.
They have, yeah. So Arabian Summer, did she last run in the Stormboy race? The Magic Millions?
I think so.
So she's coming back from a spell. That's a great return.
I think she was the first filly home.
Yeah.
From memory. And I think My Girl, Poster Girl, was second filly home, I think. But no, she was tough. Really tough.
Yeah.
It's not a vintage crop, but
No, but you know, she's a smart little filly, and she'll you know, will she get better out of her further?
potentially. Like that was 1,050, so you'd expect her to target like a Coolmore in the spring, that sort of thing. So I don't think she's competing in JJs. Like I think that Lady Shadona is probably the one so far that we're taking into a JJ or out of the races over the weekend.
Yep.
Now the Chief De Beers, I didn't really see this.
The Chief D Beers, probably the most well-named race.
Forex sponsored.
Yeah.
Chief De Beers.
Yeah. Probably the most well-named race in Australia.
Found out, talking to my old man on the weekend, that our neighbour across the road at Castledine there, his old man was the trainer of Chief De Beers.
No way.
Yeah. It's like, what? You're just telling me this now?
That's so cool.
They've been our neighbours for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, wild. So, Spacewalk and Duel. Now, if it was advantage to be a leader, like on speed for the day, that's a terrible, terrible position to be in.
Yeah, another interesting race.
Look
but
how far wide they are.
Yeah, they really came off the fence, definitely. Spacewalk, you know, he's a funny horse, and sometimes he just doesn't turn up at all. But yeah, what do you think as a form race?
Duel.
Yeah, Duel.
What'd the market do with him? Because he was
a drifter. Because I think so. It ended up being like about
$11.
Yeah, it
Wow.
ended up being like $7 or $8 the field.
I think that's what we said, right? Is like, if this horse starts around $5, probably want to be with him, but I'm kind of steering out if he drifts because he's had such a long layoff.
Yeah, so Golden Boom, like fresh up, great return. I don't know if it's a race that's going to be too much of a form race for the rest of the Winter Carnival, but you know, there's only a couple of lengths that separated the first sort of 5 or 6. But yeah, Duel, massive drifter. Don't know what you do there.
No. And then the Drinkwise Mile for the mares and fillies, it was really good because I sent through my quaddy picks really late. We got on about a minute before, had Osmos at $12 and she ran second.
Yep.
To
you know,
Makana. Who?
Maracana. Remember that? So remember that filly a long time ago. I'm pretty certain that she was. Was she in the same crop as like Rothfire, or maybe a year after? But I think she started off her career with like a couple of wins, and then she was short in the market forever. And that's her first win in a really long time, Maracana. There was there was one guy at the Arana Leagues Club, not a bad establishment, drifters, watching the race, highest pitched voice you'll ever hear in your life. Out of nowhere, go Maracana! Go Maracana! I was like, Maracana? I was, what the hell? Bolts in, 40-1.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah! I was like, bro, what on what planet are you getting on this pony?
Oh, wow. I'm looking through this filly's form. Mate, so she won 2 weeks ago at Cranbourne, but before that, it was a long time between drinks. April last year. But it was like a benchmark 78, right? But prior to that, her last win was like at Ballarat 2021.
Yeah.
Against the likes of, and she was racing against the likes of like Mokalua.
Oh, no.
Like that's a long time ago.
A long time ago. So yeah, we wouldn't have got the quaddie anyway, obviously, because we didn't get the last 2 legs. So
it's a good point you make.
So yeah, but it was a bit disappointing. Again, like, is that a form race for the rest of the carnival? Probably not for me.
Well, I think it's safe to say I did make sure I watched this one, but highlight of the day. And what
easily.
What do you do with her now, Scarlet Oak?
You have to run her in the Oaks.
Yeah.
That's what, 3rd or 4th ever start? 4th ever start?
4th start. Riding was on the wall last start.
Yeah.
Like on a tricky little day there at where was that?
Newcastle.
Gosford? Newcastle.
Yeah, because they ended up racing in
Oh,
Newey,
yeah,
remember?
that's right.
On a heavy deck.
Yeah. the wider expanses of Eagle Farm will probably suit her.
You have to run her.
Yeah.
Like, you have to strike while the iron's hot. But she was smart. Like, she's got a bit of tactical speed, so she can get into the right spot. J-Mac gave her an absolute peach. And she's
the widest one there?
Yeah, she came out wide.
Better ground.
Or was she in the middle?
Can't remember.
No, she's in the middle, yeah. So
right.
so out wide is Molly Bloom. Everyone loomed up to run her down, and she just put them away at the 200. But look at her canter. Like, that's a stayer's canter if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
And still strong through the line.
That Mara Mount Beulah back on the inside was a good run.
Yeah.
Probably I reckon people will latch on to the one on the outside there.
Yeah.
Who was Miss Jolene.
But Scarlet Oak, she's by Kermadec. So same sire as, Montefilia is probably the first one that comes to mind. So as a 3-year-old filly, she'll be able to stretch out over further, and she'll be really hard to beat if she end up going to the Oaks. So yeah, Miss Jolene, 60-1. And then you've got what price was Mary Mount Beulah? 27-1. So yeah, if you landed the trifecta, good on you. But yeah, she's a little smarty Scarlet Oak.
Yeah.
Little smarty.
Definitely is. Now, there was a question from one Craig Sneesby on the...
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. About the performances of Scarlet Oak, I think it would be basically saying, how far does she win the Oaks by? I don't know, Craig.
I don't know.
How many Group 1s will Scarlet Oak win? Hopefully one.
Hopefully one at least. But she looks like one of those 3-year-old fillies who is going to cut it.
Yeah.
Once she gets out to wait for age. Even if she doesn't win the Oaks, I don't think that matters because she's in her first prep, mate.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you race her in the Oaks, and if she wins, awesome. If not, you don't write her off. But I don't want to be against her.
Like, yeah. And I've been saying this a lot recently, where it's really hard for them to do it in their first prep, but Amakura did it last year.
Yeah.
She went from Taree 4 weeks into Scone. What was that? 10 days out to Hawkesbury, where she was beaten 10 lengths in a maiden. Then goes to Newcastle, wins by 9. What a turnaround, 20 lengths. Wins by 2 at the Sunshine Coast, then wins the Oaks by 1.5. So it can definitely be done.
Yeah.
And, if she's right, runner, absolutely. Now, the one thing that if we're going back to the Doomben Cup, we have to discuss, what are we doing with him, Kovalica? Does he have life?
There's a race there for him, but he can't be a betting proposition at single figures.
Metropolitan?
Honestly, though, nothing wrong with that.
Will egos get in the way there?
Hard to say. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on the English Digital, Kovalica. Kong.
Oh, I'd put a bid in him if he's at like fire sale rates. And, I'll give him to Jack Bruce. I'm like, you train this thing over 2,400 metres or further.
Yeah, I'd race him in the high caliber silks. That race did not suit him at all, not in the slightest, the way it was run. But then you're going down the path of, okay, so is he Goldilocks then? And he needs everything to go his way if he's going to win again. And if he's going to keep turning up in the market sub $5, he's not going to have any of mine.
Let's go through his SP profiles, right?
I don't think he's actually started that short until last week.
350 this week, 390 favourite in the Hollandale, $20 in the Queen Elizabeth, fair enough. $20 in the Doncaster.
Yep.
17s in the George Ryder, and he was $10 first up.
So yeah,
$10 in the Golden Eagle. 20-1 in the King Charles. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
$10 in the Epsom. That was a stupid price. That was a big price.
Yeah, I know. Still stings.
Yeah.
Because
Because Redina was the same price. That Quinella would have
Oh, I
paid
would have
about
paid
50 to 1.
Would have paid a fortune. Oh, well.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a race in him. If he's in a Group 1 and our best weight for age horses are there, couldn't possibly.
Yeah.
Couldn't possibly. Yeah. Yuck. Gives me the ick now, Kovalica, which is a shame because he was looking to be a horse who 2,000, 2,400 metres weight for age was going to fit in for the next few years. It sucks.
Yeah.
Just sucks. But,
I want to see him kick off at the mile. That's what I want to see him do.
Yeah.
Kick him off at the mile, 2,400 metres fourth up.
Yep.
I want to see that, please, Chris.
Yeah. Give us a chance, please, Chris.
Yeah. 16, 18, 2,000. Have 2 runs at 2,000. Then bang, 24.
Yeah.
Love to see that.
I would love to see it. Is it going to happen or are they going to try and get him in an Epsom again?
You know what? Put him towards the 5 diamonds. 1,800 metres. We saw it with Antino, and he's a sprinter.
Yeah. Well, actually, what's next week? Is that the Kingston Smith?
I think so.
Kingston Smith and the Derby. Interesting.
Well, should we have a look at those markets now?
Yeah, let's have a quick little look-see.
Because it's brought to us by the good people at Ned's. So, yeah, Kovalica, I'm going to put a big fat line through him until further notice. So, futures markets, Kingsford Smith. I wish I win 420. Magic Time, think about it, 5s. Bella Nips, 9s. Antino, Espiona, 10s. In Secret, 15s. Tuvalu, 17s. Amenable, Chain of Lightning, 21s.
Oh, you know what? I think I'd take on all the favourites there. Magic Time can definitely win at 5s. But first up, I'll freshen up on that really heavy deck. I'd probably be more inclined to take her on.
And her first up runs she needs.
She does, yeah. And she's probably going to a Stradbroke, I'd assume.
Yeah.
I'd probably there's probably 2 at good odds that I'd lean towards. Antino's double figures and Amenable's 21s. Amenable dropping some weight, 1,300 probably isn't his jam, but you know where he's going to be in the run. He's going to be sort of forward and midfield. So Tuvalu at 17s isn't the worst, but yeah, I wish I win could come out and win, but he's just going to be found in the market every single time, isn't he? And he's making a habit of running second and third.
Yeah, that's true. Bit of rain around, nothing too crazy, but there's like up to 6 mil on the Saturday, and tops of 24, 25 as it typically is, and chilly mornings, so it might not necessarily dry out. So if it's in that soft range again, I don't think Bella Nipotina is heading that way, but
wouldn't shock.
No.
1,300 metres, that's fine for her.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then the Doomben Cup, the
Derby.
The Derby.
We're pretty much going to have, Tannhauser and Autumn Angel in the market, right?
Yeah. Warmonger, who, ran on like a good thing in the, or did he win the South Australian Derby?
Warmonger, no. He ran on.
Coco Sun won.
Coco Sun, yeah.
South Australia. Ricky.
What about Son of Deck at 17s?
The source found him.
Yeah, the source did find him. Son of Deck.
Yeah, the horse who I think he's finally been taken out of the futures markets here was Caracas. Unfortunately, he's been spelled, so he won't be in here. So I'll need to reassess my strategy here in the Queensland Derby. But it's always a race that develops quite late. Tannhauser was impressive.
Yeah, it's top 2 in the market for me. Like, I'm not going to overthink it. That one.
Oh, wait till you see how they map. As for overnight, 4th.
Yeah, 4th. Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. Heavy deck, not a go.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Apparently she marches to Royal Ascot, so I might see her on the Tuesday.
That'd be cool.
1,000 metres. That'd suit her. Down the straight.
Yeah.
Typically, whenever I see the Royal Ascot footage, it's beautiful sunshine. Unless Black Caviar's there. But so hopefully, it's that, and it's such a good track, and she'd give that a shake. And from the mail that we're hearing, there might be a Chris Waller runner heading there. You'd assume.
You'd assume.
It makes sense, right?
It does make sense. Yeah, onwards and upwards to Eagle Farm we go.
Yeah. I've cleared my schedule for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. So if you're there, Drifters, come say good day. We'll be your members.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you, sir.
All right. Toodaloo.
God bless.